This is the Ruckus and the Menace.
Challenge accepted. No.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go. There it is.
There's a winner. Look at that.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you,
How's it going, Ruckus and The Menace sports fan? Well, not really. Psst. Hang on. YouTube fam, what is good? You are tuned in to Ruckus and the Menace, episode number 152. I'm Spenace the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And on this episode, we have a couple of quick takes in our starting lineup. A major dosage of lights, camera, action.
Mm-hmm.
Our traditional good, bad, and ugly.
The
The high heat, where we get to preview the West divisions. Ruckus with the AFC and myself with the NFC. The film room will begin, as we will have our first point up for grabs this weekend with the opening of the college football season and a power rankings that is themed around it. And we will wrap up with our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, we took a week off.
That's for sure.
I was all the way in the other corner of the, because I was all the way in the other corner of the state training for things for my for my job. And Ruckus had a birthday, so
Big old 28, baby! Honestly, it doesn't feel different once you, I feel like it doesn't hit the same, once you're, at least, I guess, 23 and above until you're 30, I guess, is when it's, the big 3-0.
In short, what he just said, give him 2 more years and he'll start feeling something.
Dirty 30.
Yeah, I've noticed at least something every 5 years. So I noticed one at 25, I noticed another at 30, and I did notice one this year at 35. So
I've noticed that
you don't bounce back like you used to.
I just noticed that I'm just a little stiffer, in certain parts, after the Sandlot, I used to be oh man, I feel great the next morning, and now I'm god damn, what did I do with my thighs, everything. It's I skipped leg day, and then just came back at me, and so Monday was okay, you didn't skip leg day because you were squatting most of the game, catching, and or doing one of these poses while in the infield, just straight up just waiting for the ball.
He's trying to set himself up there, but he's not as conditioned with the legs of a flamingo.
Hey, you take that back.
That was a joke.
Oh shit. I didn't do it.
Well, as far as for me, I had a lot of time on the road. And just got to cross a good amount of the corner of the state. I actually got to see Laidley Field, where a lot of high school events are. I also got to pass by the Charleston Coliseum, which is the high school basketball tournament as well. So I got to see major West Virginia high school locations. So that was at least a nice trip in the sense of crossing through really a lot of the major sections of the state.
Yeah. For my birthday, I mainly just gamed and just hung out. But other than that, the weekend before, my buddy from Japan came over to visit for a couple weeks. So he stopped by Kansas City where me and him are from, and we gamed for a night, and then later on the next week had dinner together, and it was a good time with my family for my birthday. So that was fun. I had a very relaxing week. It was definitely a good change of pace, but sometimes you just need a little reset. But yeah, if I think the NFL part of the season is gonna really help with just the consistency of like news and stuff, because it feels like the NFL is talked more about than really anything else besides baseball. Like you don't really see like a baseball player really holding up a team for a contract or whether or not they want to retire or not. Nudge, nudge. Rogers, nudge, nudge.
I mean, and of course, in our transaction log are a couple of quick takes from the NFL. The NFL has had an update the very next day after we had unveiled the smelling salt ban a couple weeks ago. It is now that the clubs cannot provide, but the players can BYOSS. In short, bring your own smelling salts.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be bring your own shit or whatever. But that there
Why would I?
I don't know.
Like that, and talking about and not only throwing two S's involved, but also in talking about smelling salt. I mean, you could kind of go along those lines, but at the same time,
I know you're not that dirty, Spenace. I was just causing a ruckus.
We have a couple of QB1 decisions that have been made. The Saints are still in a battle, but Joe Flacco, at 40 years young, has won the QB1 job in Cleveland, and AR5 will be on the bench as Danny Pennies is the QB1 in Indy. We kind of saw the Danny Pennies thing.
If AR is gonna change his name from AR5 or from AR-15 to AR5, does Danny Pennies ride shotgun?
Ruckus, you might want to attach that onto a clay pigeon and just shoot that out of there, because that was just not good.
All right, buckshot or dragon's breath, or just anything to destroy that shotgun, so I don't talk about that ever again.
I don't know. I don't know, but I was also just talking like a clay pigeon, like the clay pigeon. So I
know what you were trying to say. It was just shut up.
But some of our major content for this episode comes up here in our major segment that is non-content related. Our segment called Lights, Camera, Action, where we get to talk about things we've been watching or playing. Actually, and this section here is really going to be a both and.
Yep, you ready for me?
Yep.
All right, so I've been watching. I finally got through the King of the Hill reboot. So the first couple episodes were kind of like hit and miss. Like there was the third episode was based off of Compromise. We'll say that. I don't want to ruin it for the others. I haven't seen it yet. And then like a few episodes later, it got really good. And then there were some that were just kind of like, like it doesn't really move the needle, but other episodes are alright. Like it felt like they're gonna make another season, but we'll see. They ended it on a cliffhanger, I will say that. But other than that, I started working on watching The Kingdom on Disney Plus. It's the Chiefs. I think it's just like the review of the season, or just like overall like how the atmosphere was for the players. I haven't really watched the whole thing, but I did watch the first one where they introduced like the history of the Kansas City Chiefs and what Lamar Hunt meant to not only the Kansas City Chiefs but the AFL, forming the AFC. which then gave birth to the Super Bowl at some point too.
Yeah.
And then I also just today saw that the America's Team documentary is on Netflix with Jerry World. It's interesting. I didn't realize Jerry Jones was from Arkansas. That could have been a duh if I actually like looked at a Wikipedia thing that showed Jerry Jones, but I'm just lazy. And I was just like, okay, I assume Jerry Jones equals Texan, but no. Other than that, last thing before I let Spenace take over, I've been playing the crap out of the Battlefield 6 beta. Black Ops 7 was on the mind because they announced the gameplay and just overall trailer during Gamescom today. Gamescom is like a conference in Germany that happens like in late August. But anyways, I saw that reveal and that was on the mind because I was trying to see like what they're doing with zombies because last rendition wasn't the greatest in my opinion. But anyways, Battlefield 6. So I've been playing the crap out of it. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? So what I don't like about it currently is Rush feels a little bit rushed, so to speak. Like it doesn't feel like it did originally. Like at one point you had like a spawn timer. It wasn't just like okay, like after like 4 seconds you're back in the battle. Like there were like actual longevity spawns where it gave you like a 15-second penalty if you died rather than staying alive. But like they kind of do something similar with Breakthrough, but either way, the demolition in the game is definitely a lot better than 2042. They have an event right now on Battlefield 2042 where you could unlock exclusive skins and whatnot for Battlefield 6, and it's a free battle pass, so you don't even have to pay for it. You just progress. And they also added a new map, which I tried earlier. It's a map. It's something that's free, but like yeah. My most fun was just playing it with my friends and also trying it out with my neighbor and my bestie just to see what their experiences were. It's been a blast, but I also have been playing Madden. I have the EA Play Pro subscription, so I was able to do the early access for Battlefield 6 and max my level out, and then also play Madden early. And the early version of it was kind of hit or miss. It felt more challenging, but the day one patch probably fixed some of those issues, because right now I feel like it's definitely a little bit better as far as difficulty. Spenace, go ahead.
Okay. So, what my better half and I have been watching together is that we happen to find an edition of an Australian of Survivor Australia, of really the Australian version of Survivor. And my wife and I have been watching the newest season, which includes 3 international legends, because it's Australia versus the world, versus the rest of the world, and 3 notable Survivor competitors from the United States are competing in this season. Notably, Sari, Tony, and Parvati. All 3 of these players were also on, I don't know if you also watched this, Ruckus, but The Traitors.
I don't watch the Survivor series stuff, but I do remember whenever my my oldest niece was like 1 or 2, my sister would always watch Survivor with her, and whenever they do like the Survivor Ready thing, or I don't know if it was like they like have their hands up like this, like Survivor's ready, and the little one would do the little hand thing, and it was kind of a cute little bonding time there.
Yeah,
but I don't really watch reality TV or any of that crap.
And I'm really gonna tell you, I think there's some good game. Like there are actually some really good ones on. I think my wife and I are still also watching The Challenge and watching The Snake as well. But on my own, I picked up and watched Karate Kid Legends, which is the latest Karate Kid movie involving Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. And my goodness, it was short because it was only just over an hour and a half, but it was really good. Like it was pretty good. Not my number one from this year, but I think that it was a good solid movie and very concise for what it was to do. And then of course the mid-credit scene involving William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence. Oh my goodness. I died laughing on that one. That was actually really good. As far as my playing, I still am going through Split Fiction with a friend of mine. We got through a nice big old chunk last week. We played about 4 hours of that. But all the while, last weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I did a thing. I got this bad boy.
Switch 2.
The Switch 2. And
Oh, I forgot to mention, for my birthday, my dad got me an AMS2 Pro for my 3D printer. TLDR for that is it's a better automated material system that has better motors and just has more upgrades to it. Thank you, Dad, for a great birthday present. Love you. Anyways, let's go ahead.
And this all for all the while, I got the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World built into it. So I paid the $500, got Mario Kart World, and I also have Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I've been playing both of those. And oh my goodness, both of these are really, really impressive. I first really got a whole good taste of playing Mario Kart World at SFGE, which was the Southern Fried Gaming Expo when I went to the A.
Mm-hmm.
And which had me be like, yeah, this is interesting. And then a month later, Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out. I'm like, this game's reviewed well. I'm ready to give it a go. I just saw some stuff on a new Kirby Air Ride game that's coming out in November.
There was a lot of crap that was announced today at Gamescom.
There's a lot coming out. And I knew there was already a lot coming out.
And I knew a lot of crap was coming out of the Call of Duty stuff, but anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to...
Yeah. And apparently, there's supposed to be another game called Sword of the Sea that came out for PlayStation, PS5 that I'm intrigued with, and I want to see, and I really want to pick that up. It's like 30. Unless
I feel like
pay $50 for a year of PS Plus Extra, I'm like, oh, it's $30 for me to purchase the game.
Lom will probably be really interested in Hollow Knight. Song, or was it just song?
Yep, yeah, Silk Song. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I am really just waiting for Battlefield 6, patiently waiting.
Yeah. But then my thoughts on Madden 26, I love the wear and tear because I was already playing a lot with it in college. So yes, you are going to see a little more of my manipulation of it of messing around with some sliders on it for at least my take on the franchise run. I've been doing trying to learn the programming on my auto subs. So I am doing a bunch of I'm going to be doing a lot of things that will make my run very interesting.
We'll see what happens with the Raiders. I am still trying to just go in raw a little bit when it comes to just some of the mechanics, just learning it just from doing the videos and recording it rather than like kind of being more ready, I guess, if that makes sense. Like just
I mean, like I'm trying to just tweak the sliders to how I want it. Like
Yeah.
how I want to run.
that's probably what I'm gonna do too. I was just saying it anyways. I
No,
think
but I really have been messing around. But I've been messing around with a lot of stuff because I had already. College almost prepares me for Madden so much easier now. That I pretty much every single new college mechanic that came in went straight into Madden almost seamlessly.
yeah, the only annoying thing I see with Madden right now is like when you upgrade multiple players, like it used to be a simultaneous transition, but now it takes like 5 seconds for it to like load compared to last year.
But realize whenever, and the disclaimer here is that just about every single piece of information that is involved in like the upgrade process or anything else, unless it is a post-game upgrade for at least my end, you will not see anything pre-game. You won't see a lot of the pre-game prep. You won't see a lot of those ends. But there might be some exceptions to this, especially because the pre-game portion is a little more elaborate. So I may let a little bit of that in so that people can see it.
I'm going to add a unique spice of life into my intros. It won't just be the generic EA pregame stuff. I'll probably add in a little bit of the atmosphere, but I have some projects that I've done. I don't know if I did this. I think I probably did 2 weeks ago. I got my Raiders 3D printed helmet. I am currently trying to 3D print the Patriots one for game 1. I've got some more. I got a Chargers one, and I've got a Broncos one, if I can find it. If not, I'll figure it out later. Not a big deal. But, yeah, I'm gonna... That's my sneak peek.
Yep. All right. So, we now can... Nope, we're not that far yet. We are moving on to the Eastwood segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Roll it! Alright, so, Spenace, what was good this week?
And we are both in very much agreement of this. For the first time in 22 years, Rich Eisen hosted an episode of SportsCenter after the Bengals Commanders game on Monday Night Football, and it was a very welcome thing to see him back. But I think also what was really more moving for me, especially because this was more my childhood when I watched the YouTube video back on it, because my childhood consisted of one of the major pairings being Rich Eisen and Stuart Scott.
And I got to see the late Stuart Scott. I mainly saw him and Snivets whenever they were doing like the basketball talk in SportsCenter, and then it like eventually moved on to other guys, but he was there for like the most of the late night other primetime stuff too when I got older.
Yeah, but Stump the Schwab, Teammates, like he did a lot of the hosting of the major ESPN game shows. 2 Minute Drill was Kenny Mayne, but Stuart Scott did Stump the Schwab, and how I start and how I conclude every single one of my episodes for whatever run. I actually personally use a Stuart Scott phrase. in talking about and using hugs and hand pounds.
I don't
So
know it, so I just left you with crickets there, my guy. Sorry.
Yeah, so I personally have used that Stuart Scott that Stuart Scott phrase just simply because Stu has been a major influence on a love of sports for me as a kid. And this is me as a mid-30s man who seeing Rich Eisen back at Sports Center and knowing that he did that, it does mean a lot.
It was very cool. It was a great gesture by Rich Eisen as well. He didn't even have to acknowledge Stuart Scott, but he did anyways.
Well, and he definitely he acknowledged it also, that saying that, yeah, there should be somebody else in that chair with him.
Yeah.
And that to me, yeah, it's very much like an I'm not crying, you're crying type thing. But at the same time, it's like it shows a lot more of
humility.
That that and Eisen, that and how much Stuart Scott meant to Rich Eisen. And Rich Eisen's an incredible podcaster too.
Yeah. And they just bought the NFL just had a deal with ESPN to pretty much put Rich Eisen on there.
To get Rich Eisen, yeah. And he is low key, like he is really low key, like one that I really like. If you want to talk about like watching, like eventually listening to a podcast that is very informative, but still knowing the importance of entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Eisen is probably one of the best when it comes to football.
For sure. It's also just satisfying to listen to his voice too, and just
yes.
I would take him over Iron Eagle any day. If it was Jim Nance and Rich Eisen, that would be the perfect two peas in a pod.
Yeah, the hardest part about Eisen is that he's always the studio. Like he's always the studio. But I mean, you've also got guys like Berman who are always studio usually.
Yep.
Who were studio. So they were always meaningful on that side of it. The not so good this week, on the other hand, is the concern in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver room. I am still highly invested in the interest of the success of the Buccaneers because they look like a really good team. And they're kind of a team that's really had a lot of stuff come together for them. And Jalen McMillan's neck injury that puts a little bit more concern in there because although Egbuka has done well, Mike Evans is still a future Hall of Famer. But Godwin not being back yet, and this major injury to a receiver that kind of had a pretty good start to his career last year, it's starting to get concerning. As McMillan will also start with at least 4 games on the IR. And then I will let you go into the downright ugly this week.
Speaking of double whammies, Rashee Rice, his suspension is still on hold as he is still able to play early on in the season while the verdict on the felony charges he has against him is still going on. My issue with the Rashee Rice thing mainly, and why I kind of had it in that category, is like, so this is going to be very controversial, but like, so Deshaun Watson and those got 5 or 6 game suspensions.
I think Deshaun Watson got a double digit. think he was double digits.
I think he was probably 10 games, right?
I think it was 11.
Well, anyways, so like,
Yeah, it was an 11-game suspension for Deshaun Watson.
okay, so yeah, that's well deserved or whatever because he was creepy to women and whatnot. Justin Tucker could be facing double digits, maybe if
Tucker also got released.
right, but he could also be facing time
Should
in
he
the
ever come
league.
back? Yeah. Should he ever come back?
But my point is, if they were to double digit that for a car wreck that like harmed individuals in the process, like I wonder if they're gonna do double digit or people are gonna see that as too harsh. Because also not only the time frame of how many games, it's also just when they're actually going to do it. Because there's been talks about okay, they'll start them at like probably a 6 to 8 game suspension or something like that at the start of the season. But like at the end of last week, they were saying, oh, it could be that whole process could start like midway through the season. So the dumb thing with that is you lose rapport with your quarterback in a sense when it comes to the rhythm you had with your said quarterback with Mahomes and whatnot. That could be a problem, but you never know. But what we do know is Hollywood Brown suffered a huge injury last season on the first few drives of the preseason and then didn't show up until later in the season, like around Christmas and whatnot, and still didn't really have his footing right. Even in the Super Bowl, it was kind of lost, but like takes time is my point, and some rapport. And I feel like this is a bad situation.
Yeah, so Dante Stallworth was suspended for the entire 2009 season for crashing into and killing a pedestrian while driving under the influence. So that is the first one that I've seen so far with a major injury or with a major vehicular issue for a suspension, as that was a double digit. That was a double-digit suspension. And
again, this is also early because like right now the sports news has kind of been boring unless it's NFL related, but that's just how it's promoted with the NFL. It's more so eyes related and just trying to fill time because like MLB and NBA really haven't like had a whole lot of news.
Oh, the NBA's had stuff because of mostly contract changes and
right.
and
obviously they just had the finals happen 2 months ago, but in general, like even when they are in season, you don't really hear a lot about it until like the All-Star break or during like the trade deadline or free agency, but like still it's not as viewed upon like it used to be, in my opinion. But I also didn't really watch cable TV in the past few years because I just watch YouTube videos and YouTube highlights rather than watching live on the signal.
Yeah, I think that was the only one that was really a major, like involving a car crash that I know of, was the Dante Stallworth situation. So
yeah.
So I'm saying at least, if you're saying that it's going to be at least 10 games comparatively to what Dante Stallworth had for a 16-game season at the time, 10's a slap on the wrist.
We'll see what happens. It could even get uglier if it turns out that the suspension is only like 4 or 6 games or 2 games.
Oh, no, I am thinking that the NFL is going to make an example out of this. I mean, Henry Ruggs, of course, has gone through this, and now he's in jail. Of course, he's dealt with jail time and likely isn't even going to come back. So mostly anybody with a major like automobile type thing gets suspended for a certain amount of time, especially if it involves the loss of a life.
Yep. All right. Do you want me to go first on the high heat?
Yep, because we always do the AFC first.
All right. So we have the West divisions. The West divisions, I should say, Patrick. So I will just go in no particular order, but I'm going to start with my team, the Kansas City Chiefs. And my 2 cents I have for the Chiefs is get back into the win column on the Super Bowl route to try and repeat history and then some. I want our team to be the first to three-peat to Super Bowls. Yes, it's going to take longer than we thought. Yes, the Patriots tried to do this the second attempt and failed because of the Eagles. But I think if we have smart planning in the future with Brett Veach, which he's still done an impressive job for the most part with extending players and keeping the right ones in and taking the wrong ones out, I think we'll probably still be contending for a long time. But the factor of it all is just health and also just where the evolution comes from. Because Kelsey is not getting any younger.
And I also think Mahomes is starting to get figured out. I really think that defenses have really started to figure out Patrick Mahomes. As great of an athlete as he is, he's not really been the Superman that the Chiefs have had fully of late. Injuries have kind of hampered him a little bit. I mean, they're not major ones, but at least they're injuries that kind of affect speed, mobility, and some of the things of him being closer to like a physical 100%. But I think the Chiefs are still currently, at the moment, the favorite in the division. But I think that their stranglehold on the division is slipping away.
All right. Well, anyways, I'm going to keep going. I think the Chiefs still have it, but we'll see. If anything, the Commanders are probably the ones to take that away, as far as just the momentum, because they seemed like they were on it on Monday night. But anyways, for the Denver Broncos, I have Bo Nix becomes the underdog of the league, replaces Herbert as the faithful player to beat Mahomes. I feel like Bo Nix has definitely a better arm and just more talent than Herbert right now. Before Bo Nix, they had Russell Wilson, and before that it was Andrew Luck, and before that it was some other player that no one really cares about or hears about anymore. Probably Brett Rippon or someone else. Point being, I think Bo Nix is the ticket, but we'll just see how his weapons do with him this season compared to last, where he was a rookie. I think he'll do big things, and we'll just have to see. For the Chargers, I kind of had the Chargers and Broncos kind of in a tie for second place, because the Chiefs, I think, have it again. Chargers, Keenan Allen might last a week, but we don't really know, because he's Mr. Paper Bones when it comes to NFL. He's an old man, and I was lucky to get a Super Bowl with him in my Super Bowl race the first year. But you do get some help with Najee Harris if he's healthy. But Ladd McConkey, he was the man when Quentin Johnson was dropping balls. He was catching dimes from Herbert.
And Quentin Johnson is currently in concussion protocol.
But here's the problem with the Chargers. They charged up their phones to 100%, but the defense, so the surge protector, is about to die. and you might need to buy another one off Amazon or wherever the fuck you get your surge protector from. But the Charger surge protector aged like a cow pie in the Midwest. It stinks, it's rotten, no one knows what the hell they want to do, and Khalil Mack is starting to he's still showing his age. Derwin James is starting to show it. He's starting to have that syndrome of, okay, I gotta like protect myself so I can stay healthy for longer in the league and protect my investment. Kind of the same with Khalil Mack, but he also took a pay cut. And then like they lost Joey Bosa, so who else fills that void? You kind of have like a Melon and some other thing. It just exists. That's why I call it a cow pie. Raiders, on the other hand. Gino and Jonty. Is it a show? Who knows? We'll just have to see. And also, I get to experiment with that in my Raider series, and I'm thinking it's going to be called What Happens in Raider Nation Stays in Raider Nation, or What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas. But I think What Happens in Raider Nation Stays in Raider Nation should be the tagline, but I'm gonna make it like a kind of acronym. Anyways, Raiders, Gino and Jonty show, and some other future and vet offense and defensive horsepower. Raider stuff. You don't invest too highly in the offense nor the defense or the offensive line. You just kind of put it out there and just hope that the defense carries you, which that's been the Raiders pretty much for the longest time. I feel like that's just like their mantras. Their defense is better than their offense, right? Wrong?
Raiders is a little bit of a mixed bag because there's certain times where the offense has been better. There's certain times where the defense has been better. I have Denver as potentially that sleeper team that is going to. I think they are the team that, if there is a team this year that will eclipse the Chiefs for the division, it's Denver.
And it
Denver
showed in Week 18 last year too, because it was Carson Wentz and. I agree.
The ceiling for Denver, got elevated last year, and it's becoming a sky's the limit type thing for them. The Chargers, I think, have the potential to get there, but I know that the injury bug has also been getting to them because I think they also are currently without Rashawn Slater. So I think that as long as the Chargers can stay healthy, I think they'll be okay. But I have Denver as the sleeper favorite to win the AFC West. But on to the NFC West, which was a very open season race last year. As it seemed like there was no team that was wanting to take control of it until the Rams finally did. This will currently still remain the case, as the current number one that I have for this division is currently the LA Rams. But there is a caveat. The health of Matthew Stafford will be the biggest determinant of whether the Rams' passing game will be effective or middling. And if it's middling, it is not going to propel them to a division title. Kyron Williams is a great back, but at the same time, it takes Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, who are the critical pass catchers, to be involved to make the Rams effective. The Rams have Jared Verse and a couple of other major pieces along the way that could be very effective for them defensively. And defensively, the Rams could kind of keep themselves around in games. But I think the health of Stafford is going to be the difference of whether it's a division championship or they're kind of on the borderline of the wild card. The 49ers did a little more cleaning house of unnecessary things. They got rid of Debo. They got rid of Jordan Mason. They flushed out a good bit on defense with Greenlaw and Hufanga being gone. Of course, both of them going to Denver. But something about them still looks potent. Brock Purdy is still a legit quarterback. George Kittle is still showing time and time again that he is still one of the best tight ends in the league in his early 30s.
And gonna bring the smelling salts for his own personal use.
Yep. The biggest thing that the 49ers have at an issue right now is receivers trying to get big money. But I think the bigger concern that really is there's the expectations for Kyle Shanahan as over the last 10 years, Shanahan as coordinator and head coach has lost the Super Bowl 3 times. He choked 28-3 while he was with Atlanta. And he's lost 2 Super Bowls for the 49ers. Granted, both of them were against the Chiefs, and the second one was in overtime.
Mm-hmm. And it's right behind me that's barely visible. But, ta-da!
I said, but still. I think that if Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a great season here, I think the 49ers might need a change of voice if it goes left.
We'll see.
The Arizona Cardinals. I think Jonathan Gannon is still having his seat get warm. Success is going to come down to how Kyler Murray is able to feel much better after his ACL injury ended his 2023 season and the breakout of Marvin Harrison Jr. James Conner is going to be the key to running the ball effectively along with Kyler Murray, but it will be the defense that matters most in the division that has had that wide open race. If the Cardinals can play good defense, they have a chance to play spoiler. And I think the team that kind of was near the top and kind of fell completely off is the Seattle Seahawks. The offensive production that was there from Geno and DK is no more.
It's more run heavy now. I was looking at the preseason highlights for the Chiefs, and obviously our run defense isn't the greatest, but we were also playing like second and third string people, but still, Charbonnet and like those other guys, they are lethal.
Yeah. And it's still Clint Kubiak is the offensive coordinator, it's very interesting seeing him as someone who will run the football. Because normally Kubiaks are really good mixes of run and pass. Because I believe Clint Kubiak...
It feels weird. Speaking of which, feels weird. Pete Carroll in a Raiders uniform is a bit weird still to me.
Yeah. But Clint Kubiak is a son of Gary Kubiak, the notable head coach. So there is that.
Yep. All right, we ready to vote?
Yep. Well, and now let's see. We're gonna duplicate this.
I just put whoever I was gonna put, and we'll reveal that probably in like 10 seconds from now. 8, 7, 6.
All right. So, in the film room, our first point, available. The college football season will open with the Farmageddon rivalry of Kansas State and Iowa State. And we are already in disagreement.
Every man a Wildcat. God damn it. Kansas State. That's who I'm going with. I don't care. It's just Emaw, man.
I am going with the Iowa State Cyclones. I'm taking Iowa State. And I believe, if I remember this correctly, if I look at this correctly, and this game, ironically enough, is in Ireland. This game is a neutral site game in Ireland.
For K-State, Iowa State, or are we talking the same formula?
Yeah, the same game. K-State, Iowa State is being played in Dublin.
Okay. That's a bit odd.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of like lower end college football games coming up on the same day. Stuff like Fresno State, Kansas, that it's not like major. It's not major
That's
games.
pretty much just how it goes, anyways.
Because Farmageddon is between number 22 Iowa State and number 17 K-State, so those two were ranked, so we're just going to have that matter.
Okay.
But
all right.
On the theme of Farmageddon being our opening points, as it is a college football rivalry with an interesting name, our power rankings category for this episode is college football rivalry names / trophies. So if it's got an interesting trophy name for a battle of, it can be used here. FBS only. FBS only is what is the biggest rule that we had.
All right.
Ruckus?
I'm just gonna name them off real quick. Number one, I had the Red River Shootout because knowing my parents and their alma mater, Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, it was a very big rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma at the Alamo Dome. Or at the Alamo. It's definitely a lot of fun to watch every year, just see little sniff clips and whatnot, and like the shotgun shells that go off whenever they do a kickoff or whatnot. It just feels so surreal. It feels very cool and genuine. Number two, I have Bedlam. That is between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, and it's usually, I don't know if it really matters, but it usually is in
I think this alternates between Norman and Stillwater.
Yeah, I would say like I couldn't recall if it was Stillwater was like the main one where it started or if it was Norman, but yeah, I'm sure my dad could sound off in the comments.
If it's because if it's an Oklahoma game, if it's an Oklahoma home game, it's in Norman. If it's Oklahoma State as the home game, it's in Stillwater.
I know where both of them are. So for number three, I had the Battle of the Shillelagh, Notre Dame versus USC.
Yep, the Battle
and
of
then
the Shillelagh.
Number four, I had the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. And then number five, I had the Platypus Trophy, Oregon versus Oregon State, formerly known as the Civil War.
Yep, and I had Civil War as my number five as well. I also considered the Backyard Brawl between West Virginia and Pitt. Number four for me, I had Clean Old-Fashioned Hate. This is Georgia Tech. And I picked this one because it's not often that you have a name that kind of goes along with that.
Yep.
Number three, I also had Bedlam. Number two, I had the Iron Bowl with Alabama and Auburn. This is usually one of those major iconic games in the SEC because the famous Kick Six was also in an Iron Bowl. The one that, I think it was an Iron Bowl Kick 6. Yeah, it was the Kick Bama Kick. Was in 2013. So it was won in it was won by Auburn on the kick 6. So there was that. And then my number 1 was the Red River Shootout as well, with Texas and Oklahoma.
All right. That was our power rankings. And now for our finale, the stud and dud of the week. I will go ahead.
Yep.
So, for my stud this week, of course, I'd do the Tay-Tay version of New Heights. Taylor's version, of course. She did the new news and whatnot. She talked about her time with Travis whenever they're in the house together, or just other things that happened a few years back. It feels just like yesterday they were together, or they were like shown together for the first time, like when it was like against the Bears at Arrowhead. But yeah, just listening to that for about an hour and a half, I kind of got the gist, and then just kind of let the rest of it ride. I just kind of got burnt out because it was like, okay, like she's like promoting her music in a way, but also showing the struggles and grind it took to get her music back for herself. But like also, okay, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan. Like, I'm not going to say that I hate Taylor Swift. I'm just going to say I just don't really listen to her music, but I know it, and I am happy to acknowledge that she is a very powerful figure in pop culture.
You got a little bit more of Taylor Swift as a person in this. It also, it's not like Taylor Swift is just this random pop singer that's dating an NFL tight end that is there on the camera for Swift just for Swifty fanatics.
At least it's not a Jenner sister or a Kardashian.
True. But at the same time, you also saw it in clips, but it is the dynamic. It is the dynamic that is there at the core for what Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have done as a couple that has been where they're both kind of.
It's good to see. It's good to see because like you don't really get that a lot with the athlete and pop star.
Musician. Yeah, like icon.
Yeah. Like most of the time, it's either they last like maybe a few months and then they break up, or in the Jenner's case, you marry them and then you kick their ass out like a couple weeks later.
Yeah, it's like you see the dynamic between the two, and
it's beautiful. No matter how many times they show her on screen during an NFL game, I think it's something that we won't see in a while, and then we'll forget about how good it was. Like, I know that sounds a little. I know that probably is rage bait for someone that's like, screw Taylor, I don't want to see her on my screen. Why do we see her on our screen about 60% of the time during NFL games? Why? Just why? It's like, deal with it, dude. Like,
I will say that I think they have reduced the amount of cameos that Taylor Swift will get, but at the same time, I think what's great about this New Heights episode is that you got a little bit more of what it is behind the curtain,
which I very adored. I thought that was very cool, and I thought it was funny during the period where it was between Travis Kelce talking about how butthurt he was. They didn't get to see Taylor Swift on stage or backstage because he knew the person that was running, I guess, the backstage area of Arrowhead, because it was during the concert she did. And then also, God, there was something else she was talking
Taylor
about.
Swift having to learn football.
That and then also the sourdough bread thing that they were talking about, where she says, I make some mean sourdough. I want to try her homemade Pop-Tarts. Those sound delicious.
Like, it's like as if she knows she knows exactly what to do.
Taylor Swift, if you're listening to this, which I highly doubt you are, because why would you listen to us for just chump change in the podcasting industry? But hey, if you are having to listen, please send me some Pop-Tarts.
But we now can move on to the dud.
Yep, anyways, I went on a tangent there, but that's usually what happens on Ruckus and The Menace. For my dud, I have FAU, Felix Anudike-Uzama, with the luck of the draw in the just potentially had, because he came off of a year where his team, the K-State Wildcats, got to pretty far in the playoffs, and they won the Big 12 championship. I don't know how far they got in the bowl games, but it was still a big highlighted year for the Wildcats, as it's been a while for them when it comes to just having success like this. But it sucks that a byproduct of that, Felix Anudike-Uzama, went down on IR fairly recently, and he's in his third year with the club, with the Chiefs. Granted, his me putting him as a first round bust is still a little bit too early, because they usually grade that after 3 or 4 years, and he's not even in his third year yet. He just started, but he just got hurt. He was all right his first year, and then his production kind of went down from there, but like it kind of hurts that development when you have a lot of weapons at your disposal, and if you're putting Felix, King Felix as they call him, if you put him, what am I trying to say? If you try to put him in a spot where normally someone is usually there all the time, it's gonna take him a while to calibrate and get his hand-eye coordination right enough to where he would be able to make plays happen. But it sucks that he had to go on IR, but we'll see what happens next year if he still has a chance. Spenace, you're...
All right, so my stud this week goes to the Indiana Pacers for making the decision to extend head coach Rick Carlisle for multiple years after their finals run last season. The Pacers have gotten much better in Carlisle's second stint with the team. It's nice to see him get rewarded. And ironically enough, he's also a 2-time champion. He won one as a player, as a member of the '86 Celtics, and was also a major role as a head coach for the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. And what he's been able to do, and also having Tyrese Halliburton play well. And even Halliburton, I think, may even be ahead of schedule from the Achilles injury.
Good sign.
So this is a good sign, especially if Indiana can keep it going. And then my dud, our dummy of the week.
I mean, I've seen some stupid shit from Bryce Harper, but this is like evolution.
This is taking the cake. It is Mariners outfielder Victor Robles, who, because he was being thrown inside a good amount during his rehab assignment with the Tacoma Rainiers, he goes and he chucks a baseball bat towards an opposing pitcher.
It's like he was trying to impersonate Patrick Starr whenever he like gets mad, or do you think it would have been Patrick with like a baseball bat, or do you think it would have been him like holding up his rock home and he just like smashing wherever the bug is that he thinks is there, but really it's just SpongeBob just yelling?
Oh my goodness.
Anyways.
final result of this, and this was broken today as far as like how long he was gone for. He got a 10-game suspension for it. Got suspended 10 games for getting sick of it.
He's like, I'm sick of this shit.
It's like he's got the bat. He's holding it by the end as he's trying to chuck it at the pitcher.
Rob Manfred, if you're listening, you could tell the MLB The Show guys to add a new animation for whenever your player gets pissed off at a pitcher for getting hit inside a few times. You could just have an animation where the hitter could just voluntarily throw his bat at the pitcher and get ejected.
Oh, he chucked it and took exception. He got wrong, I think, too. I'm actually
as soon as he did this with the one hand, I believe he was like he pretty much said like, screw you, man, just went boom, and then the ref, as soon as he did that, was like, nope, you're out, get the fuck out of here.
You're going. Oh yeah, so this was definitely your dummy of the week, as this final result was a 10-game suspension. And this will do it for the Ruckus and the Menace episode 152. For Ruckus, I am Spenace the Menace.
And I am 28 years old, young. We'll see you later.
Deuces.